What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus package update, stimulus check update, daily news, everything going on here in our country, in Washington, D.C., money, investing, the stock market, the economy, everything you need to know about on a daily basis. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here on our YouTube channel at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date with everything going on here on stimulus and in our country. Also, don't forget to hit the like button for us if you find these videos helpful. First up, we're going to be talking with Democratic House Representative Jamal Bowman, who has called on Congress to pass another stimulus package, what he calls another COVID relief package. This would be separate than the Build Back Better package, or maybe in addition to the Build Back Better package. We actually have some support from Republicans as well here for virus funding bill. As you can see here, Republican lawmakers opened the door to a funding bill to combat the Omicron variant because of how quickly it's spreading and how bad it's getting, how many people are getting infected as well. And this was initially started by Jamal Bowman to pass another COVID relief stimulus package here. And he just gave an interview here talking about Congress passing more relief packages, the Build Back Better package, and another stimulus package, maybe in addition, maybe instead of passing executive orders. We're going to talk about that. We got a lot to talk about here. So let's jump right in, and here we go.
Judy, last month, just 6 House Democrats voted against a bipartisan infrastructure bill because they wanted to vote on the larger social spending plan at the same time. Now they are expressing frustration with Senator Manchin for holding up the bill. New York Congressman Jamal Bowman is one of them, and he joins me now. Thank you so much for being here, Congressman. So the White House put out this statement on Sunday saying that Senator Manchin had made a breach of commitment to the president, to senators, as well as to House members. But then the next day, the White House press secretary, she said that Joe Manchin and President Biden are very longtime friends. What do you make of that change in tone, and what do you think led to it as you talk to your fellow lawmakers?
So I'm hoping the change in tone means that we are moving one step closer toward passing the Build Back Better Act in some form. I know Manchin came out on Sunday and saying that he was a no, which prompted the White House's strong response, which I was happy to see because, they had been negotiating in good faith with Manchin for several weeks now. And I think the pivot in tone hopefully indicates that Manchin is ready to move forward in some capacity.
I want to then also ask you, in talking about finding common ground, you said Senator Manchin doesn't care about Black people, Latinos, immigrants, women, the poor. How concerned are you that makes it harder to find common ground?
It's important for us to have honest conversations about Congress, how it works, and our overall democracy. And a racial analysis is needed as we have those conversations. So Build Back Better disproportionately supports people of color, whereas many of the policies we pass through Congress does not. And it's important to ask the question: Does him being a white male have anything to do with how he approaches policies like this and how he approaches governing overall?
And of course, Senator Manchin says that he is representing the sort of needs and concerns of people in West Virginia.
Yeah, sure. That's great. It's just, in terms of poverty rates in West Virginia, in terms of child poverty rates in West Virginia, and other social determinants of positive outcomes, West Virginia really struggles in those areas. And I've heard from people from West Virginia who thanked me for many of my comments because they feel afraid or intimidated to even say anything or challenge the senator in any of these areas. So, the senator has to do what he has to do, obviously, for West Virginia, but also for the entire country. And I just think this idea of trickle-down economics and the way our current economic system works just leaves too many people behind. And that's something that's been unacceptable, and that's something I'm always going to push back against.
And I think he brings up a pretty good point there that the pandemic has left a lot of people behind. A lot of people that are doing well right now are not feeling the pinch right now with the pandemic. But a lot of people that are struggling, inflation is really hurting people a lot more. A lot of people low income, a lot of people that were struggling before the pandemic are struggling even worse now because of inflation. And with inflation at a 39-year high, with this last inflation report from November, who's it hurting? It's hurting low income people. It's not hurting uh, high middle income or high income people. It's just not. It's just not. It's hurting low income people. Um, Honestly, no matter what color you are, it's hurting everybody low income. And people, honestly, people like Senator Joe Manchin, who has a $700,000 houseboat yacht, he's not pressed for a stimulus check. He's not pressed for child tax credits. He's not pressed for SNAP food. And honestly, very nobody from the Senate or from the House of Representatives is. So it's hard to probably relate if you're a senator or a House representative and you're making $174,000 a year and you potentially have millions of dollars in the bank. So it is hard to find people in Congress that probably relate, especially if they've been there for many, many years and they're maybe out of touch with the people per se. And that's why you got to really try to reach out to these people. And this is why a lot of people call for change when it comes to, and again, I'm not really choosing either party, because a lot of people say this, they need change in the Republican Party. A lot of people say they need change in the Democratic Party. A lot of people say they need change in both parties. A lot of people say they need change with term limits. A lot of people say, they have term limits with presidents. 8 years, can't be a president for more than 2 terms now. That was a change that was made when back in the day. But there's no term limits for congressmen. You think about Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell, who have just kind of been there forever, and they come up for reelection and they just win them by landslides. Mitch McConnell just got reelected for another 6 years. And you see right here, Mitch McConnell's 79 years old. Nancy Pelosi's 81 years old, but Mitch McConnell just got elected to another 6-year term. So he's going to be there till he's 85 years old. Nancy Pelosi, the House of Representatives, only served 2-year terms. So she's going to be there only for another year, but they both get reelected by landslides. And again, I'm not picking on any one in particular or any side in particular. I'm just kind of going down the middle here. But what he's kind of saying there is that do they kind of see what the average everyday person or low income people, do they kind of feel their struggle? You can let me know your thoughts in the comments. I know I do. I see your guys' comments every single day here in the comment sections. I read through them. I part your guys' comments, and I like to be a voice for you guys because I do feel like I have a large voice here. I get millions and millions of views here on my YouTube channel, and I know that I have had senators and House representatives reach out to me personally. I have gotten emails from them, so I know for a fact that I have had some of them watch my channel, and I have had them reach out to me. So not going to mention any names or anything like that, but I know for a fact that I have had them reach out to me. Our YouTube channel has had over 150 million views in total here, which is about half of the population of the US. Now, a lot of it's repeat views. A lot of you guys watch our channel every day. But we have a large reach here. We have a large voice here. And that's why I like to show this. I like to be a voice here for our community. So that's why I think that a lot of people need a lot more help here with the pandemic. And with this virus getting worse and with the economy struggling, people, I mean, they can't even man airplanes, right? Restaurant industries are struggling, waitresses are struggling. You think about the travel industry struggling and everybody working in the travel industry struggling. Look at the airplanes, right? It's a perfect example. It's a very timely example that just over the last 3 or 4 days, thousands of planes got canceled because of the virus. And Republicans and Democrats are now considering another stimulus package because of the virus, because of how bad it is and how bad it's spending or spreading. It's the perfect time, and we need to be a voice here. Okay. And you guys need to also contact your representatives, contact your senators, email them, call them, tweet them. You elected them. I unfortunately am not a elected representatives. I don't. I am not a elected representative. But you guys have elected representatives. That's who you voted for, and let your voice be known. Email them, call them, tweet them, write them, and again, we get tens of thousands of people that watch every single one of my videos, and even if just a small percentage of people reach out to them on Twitter, it adds up. It adds up. They are your elected officials, so let your voice be heard.
Now, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, he has been openly pitching Senator Manchin joining the Republican Party. In your mind, is there room in the Democratic Party, this current Democratic Party, for someone like Senator Manchin?
That's a great question. And I would have to say yes, because the party is a big tent. I just think Senator Manchin and others in the party too, because it's not just him, need to get on board in what's happening in the 21st century economy and our beautiful 21st century multiracial democracy. We have to make sure everyone's involved. We, meaning the Democratic Party in particular, have to make sure that our big tent is fully represented in our democracy and that everyone has a voice. This is not just an old boys network.
Now, both the chairwoman of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, Pramila Jayapal, as well as the chair of the moderate New Democratic Coalition, they both said, of course, and acknowledged that Joe Manchin, he's going to need to vote for whatever Democrats want to pass. What are you willing to compromise on? Are you willing at all maybe break up this bill and vote on parts of it and maybe have President Biden pass executive orders on other parts?
We've already compromised from 3.5 trillion to 1.75 trillion, from 10 years to 5 years to 6 years. If Manchin has a 1.8 proposal, let's see what that's like. Let's see what ours is like, and see where maybe small, tiny compromises, maybe in terms of years, can happen. But in terms of programs, these programs are absolutely needed because we don't even see a light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to this pandemic. So we got to double down pretty urgently.
Well, if you're doubling down and Senator Manchin is saying he's not going to support the Build Back Better Act as it is now and wants to cut programs, are you worried that the perfect will be the enemy of the good here and that you might not get anything done trying to get something perfect done?
So remember, we've already compromised, right, from 3.5 to 1.75. But let's zoom out for a second. When we talk about perfect being the enemy of the good, we still need to get voting rights done. We still need to get women's reproductive rights done. We need to get immigration reform done. We need to get George Floyd done. We need common sense gun laws done. And I think it's important for the American people to see that these bills have passed the House. They've passed the House with strong support from the Democratic Party, and they are stalling, sitting, and dying in the Senate. Why is that? What Senate rules are in place, like the filibuster, that stops this legislation from moving forward? And why do we have senators who are more responsive to their donors and special interests than they are to the American people?
Yeah, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. That was Democratic Representative Jamal Bowman, who is leading the charge for another COVID stimulus package, another traditional stimulus package, because of how bad Omicron is right now. And totally makes sense. We actually have some Republican lawmakers actually saying that's going to be needed. Remember the stimulus package one and two were bipartisan, with Republicans and Democrats voting together to pass that. The old traditional way, right? Stimulus package three was passed just by the Democrats underneath Biden through the reconciliation process, which kind of Democrats are kind of trying to strong arm things right now, but they don't, yeah, and pass it all on their own. They don't have to do things that way. They could pass it with Republicans. Remember, stimulus checks one and two were done that way. And if things continue to get bad, like they are now, there could be a path forward with Republicans. Another path forward could be to do it through presidential executive order. As you can see here, leader of the House Progressives, which is Democratic Representative Pramila Jayapal, who is leader of 96 Democrats in the House of Representatives, is calling on President Biden to pass parts of Build Back Better. I don't know if they can pass the whole Build Back Better package through executive order, maybe. Possibly stimulus checks through executive order, anything they can through executive order. What they could pass through executive order, well, that would be up to the Biden organization. But Pramila Jayapal is urging them to pass pieces and parts of stimulus packages through executive order. What that will be, we're going to find out here very soon, and what will happen here as the Omicron variant is getting really, really bad. And it's getting really, really bad, not just here in the US, but across the world. And get this, United Kingdom and Germany are weighing a potential fourth virus shot. That's right, a second booster shot in the UK and Germany now. So you got to kind of wonder if this is going to happen here in the U.S. as well. I always get the people that think that, oh, it's the U.S. pushing this, it's the U.S. pushing this, it's the U.S. pushing this. But these things are actually happening across the globe here first. You can see here in Israel, Israel was actually the first country to enact the fourth vaccine dose first. And again, if you've been watching my show for a while, I don't push the virus either way, yes or no. That's your own personal choice. I try to remain super neutral on this. I stay out of the vaccine mandates, yes or no. I just try to give you the information. I don't try to lean either way on this because it's very controversial. Some people for it, some people are against it, and I understand people have medical conditions and all sorts of stuff like that. So I try to not lean either way at all. It's your own personal decision or the government's decision. Whatever ends up happening. But I do like to give you guys the information, and it ties directly into stimulus because that's the whole reason stimulus even exists, right? We now, because this Omicron variant is getting so bad here, it's literally spreading across the world so bad. There's now fourth vaccine doses or the second booster shots going on here in Israel, already being done, already being given. Okay. And the UK and Germany is now weighing fourth shots, which is actually the second booster shot as well. So these are being considered or possibly given already in some capacities across the world. And then there's this headline here as well. Booster shots protect against Omicron infection for about 10 weeks. For about 10 weeks, a new study finds. That is only 2.5 months. 2.5 months. That's not really that long, 2.5 months. Which could mean more doses for some in 2022. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. Yeah, so this may mean fourth doses in 2022, of course, if you want to get them, depending on whether protection holds against the virus. Did you know that some people in the US have already gotten fourth shots? That's right. Immunocompromised Americans can already get an extra shot. Yeah, check this out. In the US, most immunocompromised people could already get a fourth dose from 6 months after the third, before Omicron emerged. Yeah. So apparently some people have already maybe got a fourth dose 6 months after the third. Yeah, so that's a year after the second shot. It's crazy to think it's actually even been that long since the first, second, third, fourth shot. Yeah. And then there's a lot of people thinking, I actually mentioned this way a long time ago. If you've been watching the show here, I actually kind of thought about this and talked about this a long time ago. Are these going to kind of become how the flu shot is? How the flu shot is. And I didn't want to scare people a long time ago. And it was just kind of, I was just kind of thinking out loud. Is this going to be like the flu shot? The flu shot is once a year. You can go get a flu shot. And again, you don't have to get a flu shot. It's if you want to get a flu shot, it's, up to you. But if you get a flu shot, you go get a flu shot every year. It's not like you go get a flu shot once and then you're protected from the flu forever. And when you get a flu shot, they have slightly different flu strains in the flu shot based on whatever flu shot or whatever flu um, variation of the flu is going around that year. So, question is, do you think there's going to be a yearly shot like the flu shot for the COVID virus? Or do you think that they're going to, at some point after 3 or 4 shots, do you think it's going to be enough vaccine to eradicate it for you personally? Or do you think that as science evolves and testing evolves, that they're going to improve the vaccines and maybe be able to eradicate it that way? Some vaccines have done that in the past. So that is another possibility as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But, you got to think that with science, they're doing the best they can. It's not like they want people to get shots forever. And I know that I'll get some comments in the comment section saying, yeah, that's what the US government wants them to do. But remember that other governments across the world are doing 4 shots, and it's not just here in the US, right? Everybody's got to remember this virus is across the world. It's not just a US thing here. I always, see some people saying, "Oh, it's the Democrats trying to control us," or "Oh, it's the Republicans trying to control us." Or when Trump was president, "Oh, it's Trump trying to control us," or "Oh, it's Biden trying to control us," or "It's the government trying to control us." You got to remember, guys, this is across the world here. China has a lockdown of 13 million people, full-blown lockdown. Australia had a full-blown lockdown of 242 days. Austria has a full-blown lockdown. Germany has lockdowns going on here. There's lockdowns going all across the country or all across the globe here, and we're not in full-blown lockdowns. So if anything, thankfully we don't have lockdowns here in a way. I mean, there's probably some people that would prefer lockdowns because they think it's safer than catching the virus. But I mean, everybody has their own opinions here. I guess thankfully, this new Omicron virus is much less deadly. So if anything, we can all be thankful for that. It spreads faster, but it's less deadly. Thank God it doesn't spread faster and it's more deadly. Again, 2022, our motto here is think positive. So that's what we're going to do here going forward. So let me know your thoughts. I'll keep you up to date with everything going on here in our country, in Washington, D.C., with these upcoming stimulus packages, executive orders, and everything you need to know here going forward. Make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet to our YouTube channel. It's literally free to do so. All you need to do is click subscribe down below, and after subscribing, click the bell icon that appears next to the subscribe button to get reminders when we go live, which is every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And I just did a really good video. You can click here to see how you can get your rent paid, you can get your mortgage paid, or you can get your utility paid directly from the last stimulus package, and there's money available now. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.